Your mic.
Yes. No, it looks like my change of Thingo has messed with my RTX voice. It's still fine.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, for example, I'm pretty sure it's now picking up mouse clicks, which it normally doesn't do. So, as a test...
I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
Okay, maybe.
I'm surprised Audition wasn't like, your device, your audio settings have changed. It's like, shut up.
I told it to never tell me that again.
Great.
IT rule number 2: once you fixed it, don't fucking look at it.
Just say, I'm going to close out your ticket. See you later. Bye.
Yeah. And then you run.
That's right.
Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. Okay. Retweeted all that stuff. Let's see if all this stuff works.
It always amazes me how different people sound through different headphones. Because the audio quality is obviously different in every set of headphones.
Right.
So, like, I'm used to people on Discord sounding a certain way, and you guys sounding a certain way, and Xbox sounding a certain way, and it's always freaked me out when I change headphones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, now everybody sounds different.
And then you see each other in real life, and you're like, who the fuck are you?
Right. What's this dude?
I've been catfished.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
How could you? Oh, man.
I'm not a catfish, I'm a clownfish.
No, it's crown trick.
I was gonna say,
crown
the
trick.
Worst kind.
Oh, God. I did see a joke, though, which is, it's kind of stupid, but also fucking hilarious. If the size of your feet is relative to the size of your penis, so the larger the feet, the larger the penis, and the size of your car is also relative, so the larger the car, the smaller the penis. No wonder we're all terrified of clowns.
Okay. I was wondering where that was going to go, and it paid off. I like it. On that note, you guys ready?
Like, okay, that's a good, solid dad joke, is what that is.
A dad joke for your teenage kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, if they were...
It's a dad joke for your dad friends.
That's right.
That's right. We just say horribly, horribly offensive jokes to each other.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpear.
Howdy.
And the Nimp.
Hello.
Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
For $5 a month tier is the recommended one. Remember, that's per month, not per episode. Gets you everything available on the old Patreon page, including the weekly Outcast. It's the uncensored behind the scenes, where we talk about all the other stuff happening in our lives, other than video games. Talk a lot about F1. Talk a lot of...
It was kind of a weird smattering this week.
Yeah, we kind of had a little bit of everything. So you get that every week. It's always a really good time, and it really is a grab bag, because we don't have like unlike this show, we don't really have a schedule or a list of things we're going to talk about. So you kind of get what you're... Some weeks it's one topic, some weeks it's 17. Who knows? But it's always fun. You also get 2-week early access to We Roguelike It. Sure, Moon and I are playing every roguelike in history.
I hate you.
Right now we're playing Crown Trick. Definitely not Clown Trick. That's a different game. Probably a horror game. And also you get, I think it's 2-month early access to Critical Misses. Show where Moon and I are catching up on all the media hits we've missed. At the $5 tier, you also get the exclusive production meeting between seasons, where we take, where we aim for about 15-20 minutes, and it eventually turns into over an hour about figuring out what our backlog looks like, how the show's going, if we need to change the show's direction, what the next season is going to be, all that stuff. That's coming up here. I think that's on March 1st. Is the next one? Yes, March 1st is the next production meeting. So if you want to hop in the $5 tier on Discord, you'll get that as soon as it comes out. You have access to the previous one too. We've done this will be our second one we've done so far. That's all of it over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Okay. Where do I start? Do I start with that, or do I end with that? I'll end with that one, I think. Get that pen ready, Boston.
Okay, I'm ready. I got
Did you
it.
play a JRPG?
I did not.
Oh, thought it finally
I
happened.
played a game called Cat Go Ultimate Challenge.
You repeat that again?
Cat Go exclamation point space Ultimate Challenge.
Ultimate Challenge. Okay.
I should have told you to not bother writing this down because do not buy this game.
Title so long.
I love it.
This is a $5 Nintendo Switch eShop game with all of the caveats that comes with that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a runner.
Okay.
Cool.
It's a behind the back runner
All right.
All right.
with about a half a second of latency between button press and jumping.
Right. Oh,
Good.
I have a
Okay.
video of this on the live stream right now, and this is a hot $5 banger. Wow. All right.
Uh-huh. Now, I haven't even seen the open world part. All I've seen is the running part, which
Mhm.
is rough.
Yeah.
It's funny because what you're saying isn't matching up with what Boston has on the stream.
Mhm.
Uh-huh, I
So
know.
to me, it's just funny listening to you describe it. It's like, all right.
The running sections specifically are just nightmarish because there's 0 checkpoints. You have to collect fish. It has possibly some of the most boring music I've ever seen in my life. There we go.
Okay.
Now he's showing it on the stream. Thank you, Boston, for actually showing the running sections.
Oh boy.
Oh wow. Okay.
This is
Yeah, spoiler alert. I'm good at video games, so I beat like 4 levels in a row, and it's just like, no, I don't want to. No.
I games like this I find are pretty hard to talk about because I want more people to make games. Like I want people to make the game they have wanted to make, or like they came. Oh boy, this is rough. But like I want them to make like, here's your first game you're making. Like this is kind of a cool thing. You don't, without sounding cruel, you don't need to sell it.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to put it up on a storefront. Like I would be I'd be proud of myself if I made this game as my first game, but I don't think I would sell it.
Or
You
at
put
least
it on a
just,
website with an executable.
Yeah, like put it on itch.io and say like, it's free, here's my first game. Yeah, I made it
just
in.
about to ask, what do you do now that Java's dead? Where do you put games
Right.
like that?
You
But-
can't make Flash
Itch
games
is the
anymore.
place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a game, technically speaking, because it functions and it's on a storefront, I guess.
That text pop-up is just all the way in Russian. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right.
My version was in English, so credit where it's due.
Yeah,
I
the rest
just-
of this was
is-
too.
This
Yeah.
This is a PC version, so Russia is probably the only place that was like, oh, let's see what this
Yeah.
does.
Well, the rest of the game was in English up until that point, so yeah.
Of course.
Anyways.
Of course.
Okay.
It's fine. It has a bunch of cats.
Was
Yeah.
it running the blockchain in the background on your Switch?
Undoubtedly.
More than likely. It has load times, which are ridiculous considering what that is actually rendering, but whatever.
Oh,
but
man.
most importantly, it's an Unreal 4 game.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Uh-huh. So sure. So maybe don't buy, play, or even look at that thing again. I was
Yeah.
only forced to play it, legitimately forced to play it. So it's like
Yeah.
I have to mention it on the show because I played it, technically speaking. So
Right.
it goes in the notes. Destiny 2. We did a
Yes.
VOG run. We did part of a blah 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 run.
Deep
Sure
Stone
you'll-
Crypt.
There we go. Thank you very much. We did the dungeon, so I now have one or two more steps to get Galley, and then that'll be fine. I can pre-order my Nerf version.
Right.
I still don't know if I'm going to do that or not, to be honest.
I last time I looked, it wasn't in stock anymore. Like the pre-orders had sold out, so that saved me from spending like $130 on it. But I do want it, but it's very expensive.
Still blows my mind that I don't understand why they can't just do a pre-order for it and just see how many they get and just let everyone know, hey, this is what we're looking at. Depending on demand, we may do more.
That would be great.
Because that would be something almost within a price range of I would just buy that just because it's stupid.
I get the impression that once it's out, like once that they've started producing it, then it's going to be kind of just regularly for sale. I think this is just like you did the thing in game, you get to pre-order, you get it early.
You better hope I don't ever come across one of those in the wild, because I will.
Oh, it's over. Yeah. Like, it's supposed to be 4 feet long. Like, as soon as I see that thing in person, I'm like, well, it's coming in the cart with me.
You, as an adult, you know how hard it is every time I see the Gatling gun, Nerf gun, for me to not buy that thing every time I see it in a store.
100%.
Yeah. It's a little bit ridiculous.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I've probably played a bunch of Destiny 2. Sure, whatever. Anything you want to actually mention in detail before I move on, Boston, for Destiny?
Because Witch Queen comes out this next week, so I haven't been playing for like a month.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, because you got your brand new.
Oh no, that's right. Your other game came out. That's what it was. Got you. Okay.
Yeah. No, the end of the season happened. There was a mission. It was fine. There was a cutscene. It was okay. A lot of it is like, anyways, the bad guy got away. See you Tuesday. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
That's about what I was expecting.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, exactly.
For another surprising episode.
Yep.
But no, it's fine. Whatever. Destiny 2 continues to be thing. I played some Rainbow Six Extraction again.
Oh, yes.
Played this with Rob. They have a limited time event going on right now, which is just like, come on.
That old chestnut.
I did get a free operator for it, though, who's kind of sick. And
let me guess this operator's name. Riptide. High Wire.
No.
Explosion Jones.
It's Zofia. Thank you very much.
Boring.
Z.
Come on.
Did the anime one come out?
The anime lady, I think she's already in the game. I think maybe.
I can't remember if she was part of the original or if they said she was going to be out.
That's Ella.
I'm glad I showed up this week because I'm just full of just fun, dumb questions for you guys.
It's really bad that Ella is genuinely the anime chick from Rainbow Six Siege, and I remembered that.
That's the only way it was ever referred to me by. And even when I looked at her thing, I'm like, okay, I can see like her profile pic, I guess, for where you pick her as an operator. It's like, okay, it looks kind of anime compared to everybody else, but not like, you know.
She doesn't look like a VTuber.
Yeah, she doesn't look fresh out of Japan anime, you know?
Right.
Well, she also is on the loading screen. She's in Extraction, and she's on the loading screen with her face half covered in black goo. So make of that what you will from the anime side of things.
Gotcha.
But I like that game like a lot, and it seems like I'm getting people up to the right level now, where we can now go on the severe difficulty level, and it gives us the full gamut of the Arkham ecosystem.
Cool. Fancy.
So, AKA, hard enemies show up.
Right.
It's like playing Left 4 Dead, and then the tanks don't spawn, and then you increase the difficulty by 1 notch, and then there's the tanks, and it's just
3 of them.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
I was actually going to ask, are you guys at the point playing it normally that you feel like you can kind of get away with doing a little more outside of stealth, or is it still...
Oh yeah, like
Okay.
we're at the point, like me and Rob played it because the new event you have to have 3, and we did not feel like rolling with a blueberry, so we were just
Right.
like, let's just do the original kind of stuff that's in the game. And we got to the point where a couple of times things went loud, and we were just like, okay, let's handle it. One time when we were on the second difficulty, we got to the final mission and accidentally went loud, and it got real bad real quick. So we were just like, okay, we're just gonna boogie out. So we literally just extracted, saved our operators
nice.
from having a huge like healing period, and we're
Right.
like, okay, cool. We're getting better at making those decisions and not ending up having to go back and rescue the stupid operators that we left in the place.
Right.
That's pretty cool. I was just kind of worried that it would always be a stealth game no matter what. And
Right.
we all know how video games tend to handle stealth games. So.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the one thing that I will say all of the Rainbow Six games that I have played have done fantastically well, from Vegas and Vegas 2 all the way up to this point, is when you go stealth, they're pretty good about it.
Mhm.
And especially in this with the ability to do the lean around corners thing, the lean dance,
Yeah.
it helps a lot. And drones are so important, like they just help with everything. And the on-screen indicators of noise and enemies and things like that are good enough to where you can miss people, and as long as you're fast enough reacting, you can correct for your mistakes relatively easily. And every gun has a suppressed version, including the shotguns, including the
nice.
LMGs. It is, but when you hear really
video
cool.
games.
But it's still so stupid.
Love it.
How do you even thread it onto the shotgun? Shotguns are threadless.
I don't
But
know,
in the
dude,
near
I'm not a
future-
gun manufacturer.
Tom Clancy figured it out.
No, I'm
You
sure
take
there's like an adapter or something in real life that you could do it with.
It's just a big pillow. The really fluffy
You take
pillow.
a drill, and then you just drill down the barrel, and
That's
then
right.
you just screw it into the drill threads. Problem solved.
Yep.
And that's how you waste $2,000 on a weapon.
Right.
That's fine. I don't mind. It's a big circular pipe at the bottom of my gun, and it makes it go thump. So I'm
That's what I'm
perfectly
saying.
happy
I
with that.
always enjoy that they always make it like a coffee can looking thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Some of them are ridiculous. Like my favorite ones, suppressor wise, was always the Splinter Cell ones, because they're the big cube shaped suppressors that go
Yep.
on the end rather
Yeah.
than the round ones. That's my favorite kind.
Dude, those, I don't know why, but the straight edges on those always look so futuristic. And
Mhm.
I don't know why. It's just stupid.
It's so good.
I don't know. It's a game that I'm enjoying playing, and like you said, a concern was about the stealth, but it seems to be okay now. Where I think because as you actually do get XP for each operator, it makes a genuine difference to how easy or hard they are to play as. So, like, Sophia can revive herself after a certain level, kind of thing, and people get resilient perks which make them harder to kill and easier to pick up, or they can pick themselves up when they go down. Like it makes a big difference actually doing the gradual step up in the difficulties. And even if you're playing with people who are really stupidly high level compared to you, like Rob is rolling around with like a level 8 doc at the moment, and I've got like 3s and 4s smattered about my roster, and he's got like an 8 and then 12 1s and a 4.
Oh wow.
Like, so rolling around like that, it actually helps. And you get XP for everything.
Nice. I just want
Like,
you guys to know too. I did get bored and look it up, and yeah, it looks like a brick on the end of a shotgun in real life that you thread on the outside of the barrel, not the inside.
Oh, see, there you go.
Which I figured that
course.
had to be the way. Sorry, it's just me being weird about being a gun nut. But anyway.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. But no, Extraction continues to be fun. I still like everything. I like the stupid lore building. I like all of the operators talking about how terrible of a time they've had in the cold and how they don't like truth or consequences. Spoiler alert. That's actually a place. It's not a reference to the fact that the military lies.
I was gonna say, is it like some horrible Rainbow Six game they're playing, like their version of Spin the Bottle? It's like truth or
It's
consequences. I got a lot of bullets. It's like, wait, no.
It's the 9th echelon. Thank you very much.
Oh my. Okay. There's 9. Wow.
I cannot wait for the new Splinter Cell game, in case you couldn't tell.
Mm-hmm.
On my final game this week, I feel guilty playing this game. I genuinely do.
Oh no.
And not in a bad way. I just feel guilty because it's a series that I should love and have ignored for a long time. So everybody knows about my hard drive woes.
Yes.
I did not mean for that to rhyme, but it did. So we'll just
like
go
it.
with it. Taking up some really big change in that hard drive is the Hitman franchise.
Okay.
Yep.
Because Hitman 1 is like 86 gigs, and then Hitman 2 with all the Hitman 1 stuff included is like another 120 gigs, and then Hitman 3, which has got Hitman 2 and Hitman 1 stuff, is like another 200 gigs.
And of course you have all 3 of them installed, even though you're only playing one of them at a time.
Exactly. Because why wouldn't you?
Right.
In case you get the edge, even though I'm not going to start 2 because I haven't completed 1, and the progress carries over, which you can only do once. So why would I start 2 until I've completed 1?
Exactly.
It's the Witcher problem, where it's like, this is a game that takes a lot of time. I need to play it before I play the next one, but I don't start it because I'm too afraid of how much time it's going to take.
Except, unlike The Witcher, Hitman 1 is good.
That's some shade.
This is not a hot take. The first Witcher
Hitman
game is not great.
Yes, Witcher 1 is bad. Hitman 1 is good.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm just going to go in. I'm going to get my achievements. I'm going to watch YouTube videos on how to get the achievements. I'm going to do it. I'm going to complete the game so I can delete it and then just play Hitman 2. Because I still haven't even started Hitman 2.
There's nothing wrong with this plan that could go wrong or sideways at any point.
Correct.
Right.
Until I get in and then remember how much I love the Rube Goldberg Big Machine, and I don't look up any videos at all and just spend my entire week doing nothing but playing Hitman.
Yep.
Spend 6 hours trying to get one thing to drop just right.
Yep.
Well,
I only need one more challenge for this map. I'll just play it 10 more times because I know how to do it.
Yeah, because there is an achievement for getting a level 20 on every single map, because that's how the game works.
Wait, what's a level 20?
Like mastery level on each of the maps.
Gotcha.
When you do the challenges, you get mastery points, which unlocks more stuff for your equipment and also new starting points, new disguises, whatever. I think I said this at the time, but I just want it on the record that Marrakesh is one of my least favorite maps in any Hitman game of all time. I despise it, for those who don't remember, because it's been like 10 years. Marrakesh is the one where you're in the Middle Eastern market. There's a riot developing, and you've got to get into the embassy to kill a dude, and you've got to kill a captain dude or a soldier general who's in like a school. I hate that map with a passion. The good news is I have now completed all of the achievements for that map, so therefore I don't need to worry about playing that map ever again. I am using videos occasionally. Yeah, until it's literally in those, yes. I am following YouTube guides for certain things. Like there is usually on every single map so far that I've noticed, the routine is complete the map or complete the mission once, complete all of the opportunities in the mission, kill the main targets in 3 different ways, complete an escalation to level 5, which is when it's like just random target, a random thing, and every time you do it, it gets harder.
Okay.
And then get map mastery up to 20 and do a random thing.
Interesting. Okay.
So the random thing is, well, it's random. It's not the Paris level, it's the Sapienza level. You've got to summon the Kraken, which involves taking a sniper rifle, shooting a bunch of bells on a boat, and then the Kraken comes up. It's like, without a video, I ain't doing that.
Right.
Like, end of story. Another one, the 3 kills one is usually particular kind of kills. Like, for example, in the Marrakesh map, I think you've got to kill them both using the APC, which you can manipulate events so that they both go to the APC at the same time, and then you can,
Dispose
kill
of
them
it.
both at the same time. Yes,
Right.
you can accident kill people with
Right.
the APC. I can't remember what the other two ones were. It wasn't poison. It wasn't falling. There was a dance party one, which was ridiculous and hilarious in all the best ways Hitman can be. But like you kill them, you get the achievement, and it's a whole bunch of challenges at the same time. I'm just wrapping up Club 27, which is, oh my god, I just got that reference. The reason why I'm frustrated with myself right now is because after Marrakesh, there's I think it's Bangkok, which is the Club 27 mission. The mission's called Club 27 because you have to go in and kill a rock star who killed his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And today is his 27th birthday. When rock stars die.
Yeah.
Right.
The 27 Club.
They call it out in the middle of the starting sequence of the mission, and I only just got that that's why the mission is called Club 27.
Oh, Phoenix Down. Yes, right.
I've done this map like 40 times. That map is actually okay. I actually kind of enjoy the whole big, huge hotel kind of setting.
And Phoenix Down could have been appropriately not done correctly just based on what it does and what it was called.
Yeah.
True.
We're all adults. None of us got it.
No, yeah. Yeah, until you're older and it's like, oh, right, the feathers are also... Right.
Yep. That's not as bad as miles per hour. Like, that's the worst one.
That one's pretty good.
But no, it's Hitman. Hitman is ridiculous. Like,
yep.
I always forget how much I love these games until I burn myself out on them, which I'm a little bit worried about right now because I've got 80 gigs waiting to get freed up by this thing.
Right.
But it's dumb, it's stupid, it's fun, and I absolutely adore the random nature of like breaking myself out of bad habits. For example, where like I don't like anything going to waste. This is the JRPG and the Western RPG nature of me.
Right.
I will pick up 1,000 cheese wheels, even though I'm never going to need to use 1,000 cheese wheels. I will pick them up every time because they need to go in a container in my home base.
Yep.
And in Hitman, I'm like, I start the mission with 3 coins, so I need to end the mission with those same 3 coins.
You can't just waste them and leave them on the ground.
Exactly.
Right.
Which is a habit I'm trying to break myself out of.
You might need them later. You don't know.
That's right.
Exactly. So that's what I'm doing is I'm trying to break myself of that because it's like, look, there's a master key card right there. I can't pick it up because there's 3 people in the room. So my tendency, because I need to keep all of my coins, is to open the door, throw a coin, and then lure them out one by one, subdue them, put them in a closet, and then boogie in there and get the card. The simple solution is throw a coin in the opposite corner. They all turn around. You pick up the card and you boogie.
Right.
You just don't get that coin back. And that's fine. I just need to break myself of the habit of needing to have that coin back.
You don't
know how many forms that general is going to have.
Right. That's right.
It's legitimately like I'm Two-Face, where it's just like, no, you can't have my coin. That is my coin. I killed an elusive target for that coin, so you cannot have it. Thank you very much.
Hitman.
Yeah, Hitman's a great game. Like,
yep.
I'm genuinely excited to actually start playing Hitman 2 now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know they make improvements every time, and I know 3 they made some massive improvements to it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to going in and seeing how all that goes down. But it's just like I'm doing my best to go in. I'm playing it as much as I feel comfortable with without being burnt out by myself. And then for those like special kills for the random things that you need to do, one of them was given like 6 coins to a beggar, which of course I did kill him afterwards and take my 6 coins back.
Naturally.
But, as you do.
Yeah.
As you do. But like I had to give coins to him and that was an achievement. And it's like, okay, that's cool. It's the GTA prostitute problem. I want my money back.
Right.
But so I'm using videos for that thing, but just jumping into the level, doing what I can, exploring and poking myself,
Mm-hmm.
doing everything I can that side of things. Then jumping into a video and being like, "Oh, these guys are real good at this game. I'm terrible. These guys are fantastic.
Right.
Like they know everything about this level, and it's
Yep.
amazing." Like here is a 4-minute video on how to get 2 assassinations which are very difficult to do. And I'm wandering around the map for like an hour and a half just trying to figure out how to start one of them. And it's just like,
Right. Even to find where they are. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I don't know how to trigger this, but they know how to trigger everything all at once, apparently.
Yeah.
So I did just kill the 2 people on Club 27 with coconuts. Because yes, that is one of the missions, is to kill them both with coconuts.
That's great.
Why not?
I completed my opportunities. I think all I've got left on that is the escalation contract, which I'm not even bothering with those. I'm going straight to a video for those because it's like, this is the easiest one. This is how you do it. Done.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to do that for the escalation stuff. And then all I have to do is figure out how to kill one dude with falling. And I should be moving on to my next map, which is the Freedom Fighters compound in like Minnesota or whatever. And I think after that, I've only got Hokkaido, which is the final level of Hitman 1. And I will be looking forward to doing that and then seeing how many of the 6,000 achievements that game apparently has.
Yeah.
There's so much DLC for that game. It's like,
There
congratulations,
really is.
you beat Hitman. It's like, no, I didn't. I beat the first chapter of Hitman. Thank you very much.
Right. You guys put out a lot of content for this thing later.
Because it does the Telltale Games thing where like the base game's got like 200 gamer score and then every chapter's got another 200 to take up to
Right.
to the 1,000.
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's it's a little crazy, but at the same time, really good.
Yeah.
I forgot how much Hitman is incredible.
Yeah.
So
It's on Game
fine.
Pass.
Is it? I don't know.
I think or maybe it just left. I don't know.
I have no idea, to be honest. But yeah. Hitman is great. If you haven't, go play Hitman. Maybe just start with 3 these days because you can get 1, 2 in 3. So it might be worth a shot.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's fun. I like it. Go play Hitman. That's all I've been playing, Nimb. Take me away from this 47 life.
All right. So I have been playing a little bit more of Edge of Eternity.
Live, Die, Repeat?
Yep.
Kind of.
I made that joke last week as well. I just have to say it every time you say that name.
Yeah, it's in your contract, so.
I'm going to give this game a break, not because I'm not enjoying it or because I ran into any other issues, only because it sounds like they are planning on adding a ton more content free.
Oh, wow.
And later patches.
That's great.
I did play enough that I got up to chapter 3, which had you do some really weird boss fighting, where you had to move certain characters, and there's certain challenges with these boss fights. They have challenges that you can do, like have only these 2 characters attack the boss while having this character attack this one thing only, kind of thing. So there was a lot of weird challenges for this last boss fight that I did, which then brought me into the next area and the next chapter. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna play this a little bit off and on, but I'm kind of curious to see what they do with their next update. So I'm waiting for that. Still haven't had any issues with it outside of the original one that I had brought up. There are still fun little computer Easter eggs in there, like when you die at the game over screen, it tells you to press any button to continue or any key to continue.
Right.
Or certain menus still have the little X on the top right of the window for you to close out of it, even though you just hit B and you're out of it. So just fun stuff. Outside of that, Infernax.
Oh yeah.
This is a. So I ended up hearing an interview before I get into what this is about this from RPG Love. He happened to have the one programmer and the other person who also helped. It's a small team, but there's more than just those 2 people. But he happened to be interviewing these 2 people, and they described this as they wanted to make a original Nintendo game that couldn't come out on the Nintendo. during that time.
Yeah, like
period.
Nintendo wouldn't approve it because of its content.
There is their warning at the beginning of the game, which I find kind of funny, is just talking about how there's a lot of blood and gore and mature content in this game. By proceeding on, you're cool with this. Cool? Cool. And it's all done in Nintendo, pixel art style. So it's not like, Unreal 4, you're pulling heads off of dudes or anything like that. And it plays exactly like a Castlevania game. You have quests in this game, which is something new for that genre. And it's all 2D scrolling like the old platforms. Really fun.
Yeah. If anyone hasn't, there's a reason why I'm not showing it on the live stream right now, because it's probably one of the goriest things I've seen in a good long time.
Huh?
Which is kind of funny.
I was gonna say, like, those death animations are pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's really well done, but they're not lying that there's a lot of blood and gore in it.
Yeah, my son was super disappointed because he was looking forward to playing this game, and we did we just knew that it was a Castlevania type game coming out. And then we found out the day of that it was a mature game, and I found out by him telling me it was a mature game and that he couldn't play it. And I'm like, yep, see, parenting at work. So.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's like, man, you could have played this game without telling me. You would have also been in trouble, but like you could have had some time with it.
And that's the thing with me, is that I am usually really tight with him. Like right now, he's just started playing teen games because he's of that age. But I am really firm with them about, you play the age that you are with video games and just content in general. But I'm also that guy where I'm not really looking at it because I'm just so used to seeing it myself that if he said he was playing it, I wouldn't have thought anything of it.
You're playing Doom in there, buddy? Good job. It's like, wait a minute. He's halfway through this thing.
But yeah, so I'm at the point now where I have completed the first dungeon. You're supposed to be doing these dungeons to break these stones so that you can get into this cathedral, and I'm assuming fight the devil of some sort.
Right. That's usually where it goes, yeah.
Yeah, you've got the upside down pentagram on the cathedral door that's preventing you from getting in, so then you have to do all the dungeons to break the stones, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
What is a man?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is just really fun. It feels really good playing it analog or with the D-pad on Xbox. I'm playing it on Xbox through Game Pass right now. And it just feels really solid.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's also really small hard drive space, Moon.
Real. It's he's a little guy.
From what I understand too, it is a fairly short game in that
vein of
them keeping it classic.
Yeah.
So,
just as a quick aside, by the way, I'm pretty sure my Xbox is listening to me because promoted on my dashboard at the moment is Little Installs Big Fun in the Game Pass section. And it's like, come on.
It sees both of your hard drives at like 99.5%. And it's like, hey, man.
All three.
All three. Woof. All three.
Yes. So if you are looking for a fun little Metroidvania game to play, I would recommend Infernax. It is pretty fun. And just some of the dumb stuff that I've heard them say in the game as well. And after listening to the interview from the other site, it was kind of funny just listening to them talk about how they wanted to make a Zelda 2 sequel and like this, that, and the other thing. But they just wanted it to be as gory as they could get away with and all this other fun stuff. So you're looking at a game that was lovingly made to be as weird and intense as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems cool.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sorry. I was doing a search in TA for Infernax, and it auto-filled part one of the suggestions was Infernal Hell's Vengeance, which is one of the worst games I have ever played in my life.
Yep.
Right.
I will also say, too, that once you have defeated the first boss in the game, its body does stay there, and you can continue to hit it, and eventually it pops up in the screen just saying, I think you've beaten this dead demon a bit too much.
Right. Oh, man.
The next game that I played that I know everyone's dying for my opinion on is Cyberpunk 2077.
Now that the
Yeah.
totally functional new version is out, right?
Well, so I'm going to be talking about two different versions. They are the exact same patch for different systems. The
Right.
1.51 patch/version is the current gen version. So that is what will run on PS5, Xbox Series X, and what is out on PC through whatever you're using that for.
Mm-hmm.
The 1.51 patch on the PlayStation 4 completely bricks the game. To the point that you download the update, you click to play the game, and you have the PlayStation error message pop up saying game data corrupted.
Oh, that's a real bad one. Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I will say, there was somebody had let me know that it was either Friday or Saturday. Sony did release a new system, a PlayStation 4 system update that fixes whatever this patch broke.
Thanks, Sony.
For Cyberpunk.
Goodness.
So, as of today, with the patch that just came out the day before or whatever, Cyberpunk is now playable again on the PlayStation 4. Yeah,
Playable.
exactly. I did not go back into Cyberpunk on the PlayStation 4, besides importing my save to the PS5.
Right.
But before I get to that part, on the PS5 so far, when I re-downloaded the game on there, surprisingly, it's been working fine. Haven't had any major issues. Loads really fast. Talking out of both sides of my mouth, it looks great at the same time. Kind of looks like garbage in a weird way.
Yeah.
So there are certain instances where like the buildings and the people in the game look absolutely fine. It's like, okay, I wouldn't say, like next gen 4K, blah, 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 great, but it looks better than what it had looked like.
Yeah.
But there are definitely times where you look at certain things and you're like, this is garbage.
this is real bad.
But yeah, loading times are still really fast. The only weird issue that I have had so far with this game is some of the lighting has been broken in some spots, and I only found it in this one area so far. I haven't really found it anywhere else. As well as I have only put in like 4 or 5 hours into the PS5 version, so I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot of traveling with it, but driving around the town, I don't have any real noticeable pop-ins or anything. It still looks fairly barren, even though everyone was talking about, oh, there's more people and blah, blah, blah. Maybe on the computer end of things, but not on the PS5 end of things.
Right, if you're like running a 3080 and it's like, this game looks even better. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any difference in the crowd compared to the PS4 Pro. I will also say, with weird bricking things too, this patch apparently also broke the game on Steam, where Steam users, I don't know if it was all of them or some of them, but they were getting a flatline error.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, which is just a really cute way of how they programmed their error window to just say, hey, your game don't work no more.
Right.
So, I don't know if that's fixed or not, because I'm not playing that on a computer. My PC couldn't run this even if it wanted to.
Right.
But yeah, I still love the wanton violence that I get to do in this game.
Yeah.
And that is the only thing still that is kind of holding me with this. I still don't think the story's that great. I mean, obviously it didn't change the story or anything, but I mean, like, if for people who are interested now that the game is running on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, I don't think the story is anything that great. Aiming or shooting in the game is still crap. Like, it just doesn't feel good. I had to go back and look up online how to reset my settings to get it closer to feeling okay, but it's still crap. It doesn't feel good hip shooting or aiming down sights.
Does the PS5 version support gyro aiming? I haven't heard, so I'm assuming it doesn't.
I didn't see an option for that. Driving still feels like crap. It feels like you're a drunk driver, because you don't, when move the analog stick, and this is across everything that I've heard, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. It's the same across everybody for aiming and driving. You don't slightly turn when you start moving the stick or the key or whatever into the direction that you want to turn. It's just on or off.
So it's like
so
no
either
dead
you're
zone.
turning or you're not turning.
Yeah, there's like no dead zone.
So,
there's no analogness.
So yeah, it's almost like it's designed for a PC kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's that is like turn on or off. Yeah, I hate that thing. That's why I like controllers.
Yeah, which sucks though, because even if it was made for PC, normally, the roads would be a little bigger to help compensate for that.
Yeah.
They're not. So it's really weird trying to drive, and then you're correcting, and then you've got, the drunk driver wobble. All of a sudden you're in oncoming traffic, then you're on the sidewalk on your side, and then you're just trying to straighten out so you can keep going straight while avoiding hitting people.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Outside of that, though, PS5 version still seems to be running fine.
Yeah.
So if, and I would just say don't, but if you were interested in buying this at some point, wait for it to go on sale, and you're probably good with buying it on current gen. PC was always, everyone that I talked to who was able to quote unquote fix it on PC was just because they threw hardware at it. So those people never had issues with anything because just throw in all this extra RAM and I'm good to go until that stops working. And if you were going to wait for it to go on super sale, check it out on current gen. Do not buy this on the PlayStation. Do not buy this on the Xbox last gen, because they still run like crap. They still crash. They still look like crap. I don't understand why they bothered releasing it on those, honestly. If you do find those games cheaper, the last gen games cheaper, you do get the free upgrade to the current gen because they bungled this game up so hard.
I bought it on PS4 physically from Best Buy for I think $7 or $8. And it's like, all right, even if I never get around to playing it, it's $7 or $8. I have this thing on my shelf that has a story, a story to it, like. So if you have one of those, pop it in the old PS5 and get the better version.
It just sucks because I can get enjoyment out of this game.
Yeah.
But I have to find it and I have to fight for it, and like the game,
it's in spite of the game.
I couldn't beat the game for the first 6 months it was out because it bugged out the main mission.
Right.
And then, this last recent patch that was supposed to fix everything literally broke the game that you couldn't turn it on the last game. So I mean,
it's almost impressive.
I just can't understand. But go forth with caution. I would advise not touching that game at all, but you can find fun in it. The next game that I am actually having fun with, Voice of Cards, The Forsaken Maiden.
Ah, yes.
You do not need to play the previous Voice of Cards game for this. It is a completely separate story with completely separate characters in a completely separate world.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say completely separate world, but a completely separate world setup.
It's not a sequel.
How would you feel if I told you that this was the Wind Waker of Voice of Cards?
I would be very excited about that.
So, let me tell you why this is the Wind Waker of Voice of Cards.
Mm-hmm.
You start out the game building a ship.
Great.
And when you build said ship, you leave your island.
Uh-huh.
And you are literally given any direction you want to go on this ocean of cards.
Yes.
That you have to turn.
I love it.
And then you find an island, and I don't know how big the map is. I haven't gone fully exploring with this, but I went directly to the next location that it wanted me to go to. When you find your island that you need to go to next, all you have are like 3 or 4 land mass cards and like a pier for you to dock your ship with.
Okay.
Dock your ship. Screen blacks out for a second, refreshes into a new thing, and now you are on the island with its own set of table cards for you to flip around and look at.
Oh, that's real cool.
Mm-hmm. So yes, I am really enjoying this game.
Yeah, that's a clever take on what the first game did right.
They do have some quality of life changes. You now have the jump ability, where if you don't feel like walking all the way back to a location, you select with your right thumbstick any card that you've already flipped over, and you instantly jump to that card now.
That's great.
You now have a party of 4 members instead of 3.
Ooh.
Your characters can now have 5 skill cards instead of 4. So these are just like your battle cards that actions that they can take in battle.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it interesting. And they have a different, I wouldn't really call this an improvement or whatever, but the change is they have a different narrator.
Oh, interesting.
Who sounds younger and a bit more full of life, I guess.
Less jaded.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's see. I'm still in the first chapter. I have received a second group of people in my party who is another maiden, and I forget what they call them, but basically like their bodyguard. Basically, they've joined my team for right now, and I'm helping them out to fulfill a quest. And because this is a Yoko Taro game, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and have been since I've met these other characters.
Yep. When is something terrible going to happen?
Yeah, because so far there hasn't been anything major that's happened. Like you fixed your ship. The maiden that is with you isn't truly a maiden right now. She lost her voice. You're trying to help her out, and then you meet this thing that looks like a puppet who says that they're like a spirit, and they join your party. And so whenever the maiden and her bodyguard leave, it's just your main character, the maiden that you're with, and then the spirit who looks like a puppet with a stick. And you just fight with those 3 until the other 2 come back, so on and so forth. But they're supposed to be doing like a maiden rite or something for this other group that I just found, and it's just like the subtleties that have been brought up in this that make me think that, I don't know, someone's going to have to be sacrificed or something weird is going to happen. And so far, nothing has led me, like I said, nothing has led me to really be like, okay, that's what's going on. No, this is just, I know who made this game, and I'm just waiting.
You're giving it the side eye the whole time, where it's like, when is this going to take that turn?
And I'm also curious, too, because from what I am understanding so far, there are 3 other maidens that I am supposed to find, and each maiden is supposed to have their own bodyguard as well. So I'm wondering if once I am done with this, are these 2 coming with me until I find this other group, and then I kind of, help out this other group and travel along with them for a bit? And do I keep everybody, or does this turn into some weird horror freak show where no one's happy and bad decisions had to be made for the good of all? Yeah,
exactly. Right.
So, but yes, I am really enjoying this game. It sounds like this one is also to do everything. It's like 15 hours.
Nice.
So I'm also really enjoying that these are going to be pretty short, because love my RPGs, but man.
Yeah, not 40 hours every time.
Yep. Speaking of loving RPGs, and depending on how Boston's week went, this may lead directly into you anyway.
Okay.
I also played Lost Ark this week.
Yes. I did not play any of this week.
Okay. I just started out for the first time because I was playing a little game of, can my PC run it?
Yeah.
It can.
Nice.
Just fine, actually. Somehow. I picked a Soulfist, who is a martial artist that, as we were talking about in Discord, you are basically a Super Saiyan.
Yeah, Binary Viking from our community was telling me this before a couple raid nights ago, where it's like, yeah, you're literally a Super Saiyan, and by that I mean you have all of the Super Saiyan moves, like a Kamehameha, a Spirit Bomb, etc., etc.
Oh no.
Yeah, so while I didn't talk to anybody before I started looking into this, and I saw that there was a martial arts class, I'm like, well, that's obviously the one I'm going with, because it's either that or person who has giant two-handed sword.
Right.
I mean, those are the only 2 choices.
You want to get in there, yeah.
Yeah. So I picked martial artist, and then you get like a couple story, like just some short story snippets about, that particular class, and then you get to choose was it 3 specialist classes, I think they called it, or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
So I had a choice of, it was like light. What was it? Light. It was light something, heavy something, or spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching, little videos, and you get to try out each of the classes before you choose. And I tried the Soul Fist class, and yeah, you have, I think they call it hype. I don't remember, because all I can keep thinking of is power up, where you basically hit a button and your character charges and you get like the golden aura and their hair color changes a little bit. And I'm like, all right, you're selling me on this.
I get what you're putting down, yeah.
Yeah, your character's normal attack is just them throwing energy in front of them.
Yep.
And there's like I just really love how this class plays, and that's why I picked it.
Yeah.
There's also 3 different charges of this hyper, or whatever they call it, where you can go up 3 levels. I can't do it yet. I'm still only at level 1 for this, but you can just keep charging your character until it just gets super weird and awesome.
You grow a tail. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So going with that class, trying it out, I started out with mouse and keyboard. It's kind of set up weird, and I don't think you can really switch. I haven't.
No,
the key bindings.
They present you with 2 options where it's like, well, you're gonna move with a mouse, and it's like that. Sure, that's fine. But then it's not inherently bad. It's just weird how like all of the skills are set up on the QWERT buttons and then ASDFG, and it's just like, that's interesting. Weird. Like, it's not bad. It's just so different from how you kind of typically play a game like that.
Well, and the thing that is catching me off guard is that it's trying to play like Diablo.
Right.
But the thing is, with Diablo, like, left click is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But this one, depending on, you can switch it. You can either do left click moves you, right click is your normal attack, or right click moves you and left click is your normal attack.
Right.
You can't just have click enemy and attack.
Right.
Which is weird. And then the whole thing with the key bindings on the actual keyboard for your skills, like, that has taken some time to get used to. But Binary did mention that it does have controller support. He hadn't messed with it yet. I'm like, all right, cool. So I grabbed my Elite controller, plugged it into my computer, and I started playing with that. The way that is set up is left stick is just you moving. Right stick you move the mouse cursor with, and you don't even need to use the mouse cursor at all. So
interesting.
To use your abilities, it's broken down. If you look at your HUD in the middle, at least for my character, I have my hyper Super Saiyan charge disc thing.
Yeah.
On the left side of that, I have, my skills that I can use, the QWERTY and all that fun stuff above and below. And then on the right side, I have out of battle items that I can use and in battle items that I can use, and they're all tied to keys. The way it works on the controller is the upper left bumper is that first row of attacks that you can do.
Okay.
So you hold that down, and then you hit X, Y, B, however that's
keyed to. Like it's the bumper is a modifier for that row.
Yep. And same thing with the trigger. It's the modifier for the next row, and same thing with the other side. So
okay. All right.
That has made it a little bit easier to wrap my mind around.
That's a clever way of doing it.
Yeah, the kind of weird thing is that when you don't hold down those buttons at all, X is just your normal attack, and A? Yeah, A. Sorry, I've been playing the Switch this week with the kids, so it's all messed up in my head again. A is your dodge. And that's
interesting.
To interact with things, you have to click down on the left stick for all 3 to interact with things. Which I don't understand. That's why that is not a button prompt.
Right. Why isn't that just B? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's not a big hassle.
Yeah.
you can still use the mouse and keyboard as well. So what I've been doing is I will use the controller for moving around, for fighting, and all that fun stuff. And if I need to get in my inventory or look at the map or whatever, I'll hit the hotkey on my keyboard for that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. If I have to move items around or stuff like that, I'll just use the mouse because it's easier than fumbling around with the controller to try to do it. So I'm kind of doing this weird hybrid of both right now.
It makes sense though.
Which is working out just fine for me.
Yeah.
I am at the point where I have crossed the mountain. I'm either crossing the mountain or I've crossed the mountain. I've gotten into a new area. I finished dealing with all this plague stuff, and now I'm in a new area. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna call that good for right now.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that this feels like an MMO in a weird way, because it kind of is. Where I got into the first starter town, and everyone is just on their mounts running around in town.
Yep, great.
Like, nobody cares. Just your standard affair.
Yeah.
MMO, which I haven't honestly played one since 14, and before that, my experience was Guild Wars 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Which version of 14? The good version or the bad version?
The version that came out on the PlayStation 4 when that first released.
But I think it was the good one.
No, I think that was the good version by then.
I think so, yeah.
Because I stopped playing once I earned my Atmos weapons. I think it was the ultimate weapons for your class at the time. That's how dated I am. So,
right.
Because that was a hassle that I enjoyed, but my God, was it some work to get those weapons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it runs fine. I haven't had any issues with servers, like connecting to a server or whatever. I did do one dungeon so far that was available, and I co-opted, and that was kind of fun and interesting because it's 4 of you in an area, and you're all beating up like these waves of things coming at you, but all of you have your attacks going off at once.
Oh, fun.
So I'm sitting here having to stare at my my cooldowns to make sure that I'm doing the proper pathing that I have in my mind right now. So that way I can rotate through all of my skills. And then I have to look up to make sure I'm facing the right direction while I'm unleashing all of these skills in between everyone else unleashing their skills. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind the game. It feels pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying playing it. I don't know how much more time I'll put into it because there's a bunch of fun stuff coming out soon. But I wouldn't mind popping in and out of it, here and there, just to keep checking it out and goofing around with it. So yeah, that's all I've been doing this week. Checking out Lost Ark, amongst other things.
The only thing I played this week is Horizon Forbidden West. That came out on...
Yeah, I've seen some of your screenshots on the Twitters.
Yeah, it came out on Friday, and I've been trying to squeeze as much time in with it as possible. I think I've probably played maybe 4 or 5 hours at this point. It thankfully starts off with a story recap of the first one, because as myself and many others are finding out, if you think you remember the story of that first game, you certainly do not. The story of that is way more detailed than I remember at all. It's narrated by Lance Reddick, who is if you haven't played the Horizon games, Aloy is the main character, and the other main character is Lance Reddick, who is modeled exactly after Lance Reddick, except with like some cyber wires in his face and his arm and stuff. So he plays a huge part in both of these games. But it's maybe 2 minutes long. Like, it's really not that long, and gives you kind of a real fast overview of the first game, kind of from both Aloy and his character's perspective. And it dumps you right in the game pretty soon after the end of the first one. It's not, I think someone makes mention that it's maybe a couple of weeks after the first one, but not, there's sort of a time crunch in these games, so there's not a lot of time to waste. The tutorial mission felt pretty good. A lot of it is Aloy showing somebody else how to play this game, essentially. And it's sort of like, well, I know how to do this, but if you're going to come with me, here's how you hunt the machines and do stealth, and here's how you use items and stuff. Here's the nearly impossible way to figure out how to throw a rock in this game at the very beginning, which the game could use to tell a little bit clearer.
Didn't even know that was a thing you could do in the first game until
I had
halfway
no idea.
through.
Yep, and this game is like throw a rock, and I failed twice just trying to figure out how to do it, and the game is just like, get back in there, throw a rock. It's like, okay, that's a little. So for anyone that's
background's like, it's right there. What are you doing?
Yeah, so for anyone that's playing this game, you need to use left and right on the D-pad to pick it in the bottom left-hand corner, and then hit down on the D-pad, and she'll like hold it, and it'll show like a throw arc, and at that point, then you can just throw it. You don't need to aim it like the bow. So that stuff is really good. There is a ton of story at the beginning of this this game, way more than in the first one, because I think one of the smart things they do in this game is like, look, we all remember Horizon Zero Dawn. Don't worry about it. Anyways, let's go through this facility. Big old lore dump. It's like, okay, I'm catching back up. Okay. But it's kind of fun because the person you're wandering around with isn't privy to all the stuff that Aloy learned in the first one. So she's like, well, here's this focus, that like Bluetooth earpiece she wears. Yeah. She's like, you can have one. I'll show you how to back up your data later. And he's like, what's backup and what's data? And she's like, anyways. It's just like, I have a lot to teach you. It's like, okay. And it's sort of funny to see him being like righteously indignant about some of the stuff that you find out in this facility, really quickly extending from the end of the first one. And he's like, how could they do this? This is horrible. Like, how could people do this to other people? And Aloy's like, yeah, man, like, I've seen a lot of this. Like, this is not the worst thing I have run into. You should be mad, but, like, I'm also pretty tired. Everybody is mad at... This is not a spoiler. Everybody is mad at Aloy giving an Irish goodbye at the end of the first game. And literally everybody you run into is like, oh, well, look who decided to show... Somebody left without saying goodbye. And it's like, yeah, man, I feel like, a world-ending problem might require someone to not chill out and party with you guys.
Uh-huh.
Maybe she's got stuff to do. So I'm a little tired of that from like all of these important NPCs from the first game being like, oh, well, the savior of Meridian decides to come in. It's like, shut up, guys. Come on. Are you going to fight some robot dinosaurs or are you not going to? Come on.
I don't even need to be here.
Yeah, I hunted down so many dinosaurs with a spear and a bow and arrow in the first one. I don't need you, man. Like, I got this Bluetooth thing. It lets me see the past, the future, whatever. So, like, don't even. Gosh, there's a lot in here. If you played the first one, it's largely the same, but kind of with the edges sanded off of some of the stuff that was real frustration. Like, in the first one, when you picked up, like, branches or berries or stuff, and your pack was full, every time she'd be like, well, pack is full, send that to the stash. It's like, oh, God, please. I can't hear this like 4 times for this patch of wood that I'm picking up. Thankfully, she says it very rarely this time. Maybe if you haven't picked up stuff for like 15, 20 minutes, then she'll say like, oh, my pack's full. All right. But largely otherwise, it's just like, yeah, man, it goes back to the camp. No big deal. It obviously looks incredible. I'm playing it in performance mode because I need those 60 frames. I have messed around with it in resolution mode, which is 30 frames, and it looks like... I don't think it's... To me, it's not that huge of a graphical leap. It's not like you switch it over and you're like, whoa, lighting. It's nothing like that. Like, lighting looks better, the textures look better, but it's not monumentally better.
I don't know. From the pictures I had seen of people freaking out about her having peach fuzz.
It's so funny. I don't even, like, there hasn't been a shot in this game that has gotten close enough to her face to see any of that stuff. It's just anytime she's on screen, I'm like, man, they made this game look so good. Like, she just, like, her character model looks really good. It's like, I didn't realize how good it looked until I was watching a side by side from her in the first one and her in this one. It's like, wow, this is like this is a giant graphical leap. It's really incredible. And like the wind blowing through the grass looks really great. Like there's the rain and fog and fire and stuff. Like really early on, you fight one of those flying machines, the like horrible demon flying ones. And when it kind of skids to the ground, its tail sets fire in like a straight line, and that has been a nightmare. But like that stuff all looks really good. It sounds really great. Soundtrack is really good this time. It was good in the first one, but it's really solid. I think I sort of pushed my way through the beginning 2 areas pretty quickly to get into like the first big area, as I was worried about the number of side quests that there are. There aren't a lot. It's not like Dragon Age Inquisition or anything, but there were enough of them that I'm like, all right, I kind of want to like, I want to keep this thing rolling until, as it starts doing like these 2 very small portions, just to say like, well, here's how you override one of these horse machines, and you can ride it around. It's like, oh, right, that's how you. Okay, now I'm remembering. I did see someone just post that I did miss something by not doing all the side quests in the first one. Like there's a weapon and there's some other stuff that I need to go back and do. But I am in the big first open area, which is great because once you get through the first 2 areas, the game is like, here's your main mission. It's gonna be on the map. Do whatever you want. Like go nuts. Here's your first tall neck. Figure out how to get up there. Whatever you want to do. So naturally I went to go get the first tall neck because that's the Borgia towers of this game. And thankfully it was way better than what we got in the first game. I essentially had to do solve a puzzle to solve another puzzle to move something to get onto the tall neck. So it wasn't like jump off this cliff and oh, now you're on top of it. It's like, no, it's doing this path. You got to figure out how to get up there, and you got to solve all this stuff to get up there. It's a lot like there's some ruins in this game now, and a lot of them are kind of traversal and hands-off puzzles, where it's sort of like, here's a locked door, here's this area, the puzzle's kind of self-contained here. Go figure it out. Like go solve the problem. I did get the glider already. That's sort of what I was pushing towards, is like, all right, let me get the big new ability.
The movement thing.
Yeah. It's really great. And there is an option for it. I have it off right now, but I'm probably going to turn it on, where if you jump off a cliff, you have to hold square for maybe like half a second. And the glider extends, and you, not like Breath of the Wild, where you kind of have a stamina bar. You can just glide however far you want, which is nice. That feels pretty good. It looks really great. The sound is really fun on it, and the way you get it is kind of a fun thing, because it's like technically not a glider, which is kind of fun. I think my only criticism of this game so far is I wish the game held your hand a lot less. So the thing that's frustrating me is I spent this morning taking over a couple of like rebel camps, and you're trying to solve this mystery in the first area by kind of taking over these camps, and each one of them continues this kind of side story, which is kind of nice. It's not just like, oh, you cleared it out, you got 2 skill points. There's 6 skill trees this time, by the way, which is intense. Cool. There's like a whole bunch of new mechanics in those skill trees, and I haven't started to scratch the surface of them, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
I was going to ask, does it seem like they just moved skills to kind of flush certain things out, or do they seem like brand new compared to the first one?
It's largely, each one of the trees is kind of like, not really a play style, but it's more like, this one is surrounding bow and arrow stuff. So it starts with like concentration refills faster, concentration drains slower. If anyone hasn't played Horizon, either one of them, each one of these games has like a million controls in them. So like, if you know how to play games, it's not that bad. But when you're aiming down sights with the bow and arrow, so like you pull L2 and then R2 to kind of pull down sights. You click in R3 at the same time. It slows down time. And I know that's like you're like claw handing your controller, but it's not that bad. Also, DualSense integration is incredible in this. It's so good in the way that it's really great in like Control and Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that. Like, it's really good. It uses the distance between your controller and the TV in really interesting ways for when you're firing arrows. So the noise originates from your controller and goes through to your TV, and it's a really cool effect. But when you're doing that, like if you start investing in the kind of ranged tree, that stuff refills faster, it drains slower, you can crit with your bow and arrow more. There's a melee tree, there's a healing tree, which I'm investing in pretty heavily at the beginning, because like one robot will hit you and half of your health is gone, which is Horizon. So like I can drink potions faster and they do more stuff, and I can make them faster and stuff like that. There's a stealth-ish kind of tree, which I pushed in pretty heavily to get I don't even know what they're called because I just unlocked it. It's essentially like an ultimate ability. The first one I got was to cloak myself, which seems like a pretty great first option, because the beginning of the game is largely like sneak from one of these red grass patches to another and silently take down this entire fort full of enemies. And the last one is largely like machine overriding, which I really do not care about, probably for the first 20 hours of this game. I
didn't do that at all, besides getting a horse.
Yeah, like I didn't do that much in the first one, because at some point, like, either you're so strong you're just gonna take the enemies down, or you're just gonna bypass them. So
my biggest issue was that anytime I remembered that I could do that, it was always against the bigger enemies. And I'm like, I wonder if I can take those over. No.
No, you cannot. Yeah. This is the robot T-Rex. It will not let you do that.
Exactly.
So what I'm talking about with hand-holding is, the thing that's frustrating to me is when I'm going and I'm taking out this rebel camp, you run into a drawbridge. And as soon as Aloy sees the drawbridge, she's like, I should check out that wheel next to the drawbridge. And it's like, cool. I'm like fighting two dudes and I'm kind of looting them as I'm going through. Like, I will get there when I get there, but like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I got to get to the objective marker across this river. Like, you don't, I got it. Don't worry. I'm in the middle of something. So I eventually get there. I turn the wheel. Only half of the drawbridge falls. And I'm like, okay, cool. And before I can even do anything, Aloy is like, I should use my focus to see what I can find. I was like, I know. I'm getting that. Like, it literally landed. Like, give me a second. So I pull out my focus. It highlights like 3 weak points on the bridge. And immediately she's like, I should hit that with my bow and arrow. I was like, that's your only weapon. Of course I'm going to shoot it with the bow and... Come on. Like, so thankfully when you're out in the open world, it doesn't really do that unless she's saying like, oh, I should go check this thing out. Or, oh, I hear there's a bonfire nearby. Or the important one, which is, I don't have the tool to solve this puzzle right now. Which is the game very distinctly telling you, this thing, you need some upgrade. Just keep on moving. Can't do this now, which is greatly appreciated. But I wish it would pull back a little bit on, like, if I could even have, like, 5 seconds to solve the puzzle, 30 seconds, like, that would be really great, other than like it's a video game. I've played video games before. Like I know I need to use my Batman investigative vision to highlight the things and then shoot them. Like that's what you're gonna do. So it's a little disappointing to have that hand holding, but I'm hoping that eases up. You know, once you get through, like, oh, it's your first rebel camp. Oh, it's your first hunting ground. It's your first. Once you do the first of all of them, I'm hoping that it kind of eases up.
You don't want to be on the final boss and it's still explaining to you what the red areas on the Dinobots do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, shoot the weak points after scanning them. It's like, I'm like 50 hours into this, I know. One of the other interesting things I just thought about it is this morning, Aloy had like run into someone after we took down a big robot in the world, and they're like, oh yeah, I came from this place. And Aloy says something about like, oh, maybe I should swing by that town. And like, the game doesn't really care if you do it or not, but when I scanned that tall neck, it showed me like 3 optional towns in the world, and the game's just like, you can go there if you want. I don't care. Like, here's the next mission, but like, whatever. If you want to go to this town, it's like there'll be people you can trade with, stuff you can buy, like you can upgrade your weapons, you can deal with your stash, and of course, it all looks great.
Have they made, I guess, comparing the weapons easier? Because in the first one, it was fairly confusing on what the difference was between like what was it, the Kara bow and like a shadow bow.
Yeah, it's a little. There's way more weapons in this, and they do a little bit of a better job, but it seems like there's a lot more stats on every weapon this time. So that stuff is pretty interesting, where it's like, oh, this one's going to do acid damage, and it does 2 more damage than the other bow, but it fires a little slower. They have the bunch of outfits back again, and they all have like pluses and bonuses.
They also have the different resistance and
and you can like slot the things into like the weave slots again. So a lot of that is there. The comparison is a little bit better, but there's still some times where it's like, okay, I got this staff for pre-ordering, and you get the staff at the beginning of the game because it's just like your default weapon. Are they better? Are they the same? Are they different? The quick answer is they're the same. It just looks a little bit like the one from the first game. Oh, my last note here. Something truly incredible about this game that's still really wild is that this game, unlike the first one, this game has a whole bunch of towns in it, and they seem very much like RPG towns, where it's like you have the armor, you have the person for the weapons, you have this person's going to sell you food, and it'll give you a buff to some of your stats for a couple of minutes. The really wild thing is when you play most of these games, just like 2 or 3 NPC types, and they'll put like different hair on them, and this one's wearing different clothes, but it's very much like, here's the dude, here's the lady, and here's an old guy, and like they're going to recycle that all the way through. Man, not in this one. Like, every single NPC I've run into not only looks different from everybody, but they're modeled completely differently from everybody else. In a way that, like, their face animates, they move differently, like, they're holding themselves differently. Like, it's a really wild thing to just see, like, there's 50 people in this town, and all of them look differently, and all of them look just as good as Aloy does. It's crazy. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what their budget was. And the story's coming out this week that they delayed the game to avoid crunch, which is even better and even more wild. So, yeah, I was a big fan of the first one. So I was assuming I was going to like this one, and this one so far seems to be, hey, it's the first one, and we're kind of smoothing the edges. We're putting some more stuff in. We're kind of making it a lot clearer, streamlining some of the stuff, and kind of just giving you a bigger open world to play around in.
Yeah, because now you can go diving in water.
You can, which I've done a little bit of. I found, like, behind a waterfall, there was, like, a giant cave that I could dive into, and found a bunch of, like, rare loot and stuff. So far, so good. I mean, I'm
Nope.
kind of a sucker for the first one. These are real. I think these are really great and really creative open world games. And I'm liking it so far. And I will be playing this a whole bunch until Tuesday, and then I will drop it for something else. But that's all I had. Yeah, that's all I had time to play this week. So let's take a break. Man, Nip, your cat is like way into you right now.
Anytime I let her near me,
Yeah,
I actually have to
Big
let her
fan.
out because she has to use the bathroom.
Well, I'm actually going to take an opportunity to use the bathroom myself. I'll be right back.
Okay, look. Hi, chat. I don't know. It's a smoke mod, I believe. Smoke species based on the words that are printed on the thing. Also, it's not a hoodie. It's a sweater thing and a hat. Although, if you could do it properly with the English flag, I would be wearing the hat upside down. But unfortunately, that does not work with our flag because whoever designed our flag is a genius. And by genius, I mean idiot. I was just talking to them about flying the flag upside down. Can't do it with my flag.
No, but you can fly it sideways.
That's true, but then it just looks like a tall stick figure. It looks like you're playing Hangman. Which is only what the British did to everybody else. But a boom.
Whatever. Shit happens when you party drunk. Holy shit. Did Boston send out notes?
Show notes? Yes, he did.
I did not get it this week. Or maybe I deleted it? Nope, didn't get any. Whatever.
If I could figure out how to forward, I would.
You're fine. Apparently, I did not get show notes from you, but Moon did.
What? Well, I have it shared with you.
I don't have anything in my email.
Did you get spam filtered? Did he spam filter you, Boston?
Nope.
Am I spam?
Nope.
Yes.
I have it set so that everything that I don't want just automatically goes into the trash, and you are not in the trash.
I should be, though.
I just put it in chat for you.
All right, yeah, I got it.
Let me see if that works.
But now, yep, all right. There we go. Thank you, sir.
No. All right, you guys ready
here with the question?
Yes. Are we ready for the second half of the show?
Word God. Oh boy. Favorite Rain says, "Hi, Boston. How's the kitty? He's not doing great. He's been a rough time for that big guy. So we'll see what happens." Okay, you guys ready for the second part?
Yes, sir.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yes.
Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of February 21st, 2022. Destiny 2 The Witch Queen comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, PC, and Stadia.
What's this game? I don't know what this game is.
Yeah, I don't. It hasn't really been a big hit, and it's big in Japan, but not really here. It's kind of.
I think it's DLC for The Witcher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Naturally, yeah. It's a tie-in between Destiny and The Witcher. It'll be you finally get to play as Geralt and shoot a gun.
Toss a coin to your guardian.
That's right.
Boo.
For anybody that's babies about hearing people talk about Destiny 2, don't forget that I put chapter markers in this episode, in any of these episodes, so you can just skip right past it. In the
mental
next,
note that right now because it's about to get heavy.
Yeah.
So don't forget that Boston's one day away from starting his own Destiny podcast.
That's right. That's right.
He's one co-host away.
I just have to sucker somebody into this. Yeah. So we'll probably talk about The Witch Queen as the last game in next week's episode. That way people don't have to complain about it too much. But I'm very much looking forward to that, and I'm really counting down the hours until I can play it on 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Next up is Monarch. Comes out on PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. This is the ex-Persona and SMT guys left to make their own company and make their own RPG, and they made a Persona game that is somehow even more transphobic than the Persona games, which is a real bummer. So, caution with that. It looks like it's fine, but I read a review from RPG Site, I think, that was understandably pretty harsh on its anti-trans weirdness. So, Japan, be better, please, about that stuff.
Yes, please.
That can go for everybody.
Yeah, be better, especially everybody. Stop being mean to people. Edge of Eternity comes out on the Switch. Curious to see how that's going to run there, because that seems like that would be a pretty cool platform to play that on. I'd like more people to check that out. Atelier Sophie 2, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream, comes out PS4, Switch, and PC. This is an Atelier game. It's an Atelier Sophie game. This is not Pup RPG love, so we won't dive super deep into that, but...
It's not coming on the Xbox, which means it's a JRPG, which means I can ignore it.
That's right. for two reasons. Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster comes out PC, Android, and iOS. If you saw the... I'm going to choose to see this as good-natured controversy about this on Twitter earlier this week. Square Enix has fixed the issue with the train not being upside down when you suplex it. The train will now be upside down. So
good.
Yep.
Problem avoided. But in all reality, this looks really good. I'm really excited to hear the new music. The new music in 4 and 5 were both really, really good, and 6's soundtrack is just like an all-time great. So really excited to see this, and really excited to see Square Enix announce a whole collection for consoles, right? Just any day now, right? Just it's coming, right? Yeah. Elden Ring comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and
this week too.
PC.
It is.
It's Friday, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to stay off social media for a couple of weeks while I let the Elden Ring and Witch Queen talk die down, I think.
Yeah.
You're going to hear about it next week, Sunday.
I know, because I've got this idiot playing Destiny and you playing Elden Ring.
Yeah. One of us has to fall on the From Software sword, and it sure as hell isn't going to be me.
It was me until you got me into Destiny.
That's right. Yes. And last but not least, Grid Legends is coming out for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. I had totally forgotten about this game until I watched the latest kind of deep dive from Codemasters. And this is the Grid game with a story mode that has FMV scenes in it, and it looks really good. I'm going to put this on my list of cool games that are awesome that I definitely shouldn't miss 2022 edition, and hopefully scoop this up in a couple months to play it, because I like the grid games, I like FMV games.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, and I like the idea of them putting a story mode into a racing game that usually is either really good or turns out to be the cheesiest thing ever, and you combine either one of those with FMV. I like it.
Mm-hmm. And
two thumbs up.
It's probably worth mentioning as well. I think this is a Codemasters game, so don't be afraid of the racing in it.
Right.
But it is going to be the first Codemasters game I think they've put out since they were fully under the EA banner.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right, because I think... What's the last thing they put out?
F1 2022.
How long ago was the acquisition?
Yeah, because Dirt...
I think they bought them right as F1 came out, the new F1 game from last year.
Yeah, because Dirt 4 was right before that, I think. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So we'll see if that affects it in any sort of MTX way, which is going to be the obvious concern point for this one. But we'll see. I'm very curious to see that. The best thing for me to hear about a Codemasters game is that it comes out and it's like, it's another great racing game from Codemasters. It's like, great, sold, love it, check it out. Let's talk about our news story this week. Valve partners with iFixit for Steam Deck replacement parts, and also Valve Index replacement parts too. So the two of them are, if you're not aware, iFixit does like product teardowns, and they do repair guides, and they also sell sometimes official, sometimes unofficial replacement parts. So it's like, hey, do you need a battery for your 3DS? Here's a guide on how to tear it down. If you don't have the screwdrivers to do it, they'll sell you that, and they'll sell you the battery. So it's kind of... their guides are almost always really good, and the stuff they sell is really good. They're working in an official capacity with Valve to provide official replacement parts for the Steam Deck, like buttons and joysticks and battery and stuff. iFixit did a full product breakdown of it, and they had a really positive review of it, except for there's a little bit of frustration from them on how hard the battery is to get to. Not something like an iPhone where you take apart literally everything to get the battery out of there. But it seems like that was their frustration point.
Cool.
Along the same lines, Valve released CAD files for the Steam Deck shell for anyone that wants to make accessories or like 3D print
printing
stuff or mod the Stream Deck. They're sort of saying like, look, we're giving you a warranty, so like try not to crack it open. Like, we get it, but also like don't be super weird about it. But also if you want to make like, giant handles on it, go crazy. Here's the CAD files. Get your 3D printer.
Make it purple and put a handle on it, please.
There you go.
Perfect. I love it. Bring it around with you ever. Yeah. Put the little shiny ring on the back of the PSP, right on back of there. Love it.
I did also put in our Discord all the games that are currently approved and running on the Steam Deck. So if you have one coming, or if you're thinking about getting one, check out that list and see if it's something that you would be interested in dropping the money for.
Yeah.
I think the cheapest one was what, $2.99?
Something like that. It wasn't. It wasn't.
I know one of them was $4.99, and I think that was the high tier.
I think so. Yeah. Also, Pharaoh Reigns is correctly pointing out in chat. I keep calling it either the Steam Deck or the Stream Deck. Thank you, Elgato and Valve, for making two very different products that have just one letter difference. Boy.
So it's a kind of a clown trick, you might say.
Yeah, it's like Outer Worlds and Outer Wilds. Same game, right? Yeah.
Running that thread from top to bottom.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
So
Jimbo,
good, so it does.
That's right. Jimbo Django sends us an email this week that says, magazines, remember those? Hey, TVGP crew. As a kiddo, I remember rushing to the mailbox daily to see if the new GamePro or Nintendo Power showed up. Tips and tricks also helped me beat even the toughest games. Magazines were basically the internet before the internet. So that brings me to my question for the week. What were some of your favorite gaming magazines? And if you could bring one back, which one would it be? Have a great show.
I got two answers straight away for this. OXM, the official Xbox magazine, because they had demo discs,
They did.
which I adored.
Yep.
They included the first level of Halo on one of those demo discs. So before
That's
I was
right.
able to play Halo, I was able to do the let's just drop a bunch of grenades under a warthog and spin it into the stratosphere thing,
Yeah.
which was hilariously fun. And the other magazine I would choose still exists, Edge.
Edge. Edge is so good.
Because it's also, I'm pretty sure it's also a British magazine.
It is,
and
yeah.
it has always been top caliber, like
Yep.
best of the best kind of magazine.
Also, it's a very good way to thicken your skin. If you feel like, well, how could anybody hate my favorite game? It's like, you need to read Edge. They dislike nearly everything for real weird reasons, but they have really good interviews. Their reviews are genuinely very good. Sometimes they will put out a glowing review for a game and be like, it's a 6 out of 10. It's like, wait, what? It's a great read. I love Edge. My biggest ones. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I liked PlayStation Monthly, especially back in the PlayStation 1 days when you did get those demo discs, and when eventually they did the underground stuff, and you got like the extra demo discs.
Yep.
But EGM was also
that's a
like
classic
big
here in
one.
the States.
Yeah, that I used to read all the time. So
yeah, I never got into like OPM. It was like official PlayStation magazine. I never read that one as much. Nintendo Power was definitely like, I was born in the 80s, so like Nintendo Power was like the Bible for a really long time until you realize that it's like, they're maybe not reviewing all of these games on the up and up, but
Dude,
as a
Wave
kid
Race
you're
is a
like
10 out of 10. Pilot Wings is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, as a kid you're like, everything in this
N64
magazine
release
is the best thing. Let's go buy it at Toys R Us. Yes. And like eventually at some point you're like, wait a minute. That's not. Hold on. I liked EGM a whole lot. I feel like Game Pro and Game Fan were pretty good. I know they have like some diehard fans, but they were never my go-to. I liked Next Generation magazine. I think that started coming out when I was in high school.
Game Informer was pretty good too for the beginning, and it was still good with GameStop too for a bit. Yeah,
Game Informer. People never give like the print version, which I think the print version is still going. The print version and the website have both always been really good. It just has always gotten unfairly maligned because it's tied to GameStop. And like everybody has a subscription to it at some point because someone will sucker you into taking one home. But it's legitimately a really good magazine and a really good website. It's always been really good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like I never really read Tips and Tricks growing up for some reason. Yeah.
I was trying to think, because like I know there's a couple of them that I got once in a while, but I couldn't remember what they were.
Yeah.
Dude, Games Master. Crap, how could I forget about that?
Yeah, Games Master was huge in the UK. Yeah.
If you want some really trippy things, go watch anything on YouTube about Games Master, the show from like the 90s, 2000s.
That's a wild time. Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think there was anything else that was like big enough. I don't remember if there was anything else that I was really reading kind of on the regular.
Did Sega ever have a magazine? I can't think of one.
I feel like they did, but I don't think it lasted for maybe more than a couple issues. I don't think it was big enough to kind of be the thing like a kid would hear about. I think that's something you'd hear about 10 years later on Resetera, and you're like, oh, wow, they put out 3. You probably get it on the Internet Archive now. Scanned all 3 episodes in.
It was probably the official Dreamcast magazine or something.
Oh man, if only. Yeah, poor Dreamcast. I can't think of anything else. That's our only question this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including links to the Discord server, especially if you're playing something big. like Destiny 2 or Elden Ring. I'm sure that's going to be the talk of the town this week. And you can come hang out with not only us, but the best community on the internet. It's been proven. They're the best. You're the best listening to this. We appreciate you. Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
Talked about all the cool stuff you get for your financial support. Helps us pay for the show and all this equipment and software. God, the software is so expensive. Go to hell, Adobe. All of that stuff is very expensive. And you help me afford all of that stuff month over month. I greatly appreciate it. If you can't support us financially, we totally understand. Best way to support us is to share the show on social media, tell your friends, rate us 5 stars wherever you listen. Let us know if you're trying to listen to the show on some platform and we're not there. I will do my best to get it over there. I want to be where you're listening. All of that stuff, especially word of mouth. I say this every week, but it really does help every podcast you listen to, unless you're like already famous when you started recording a podcast. Then I have different words for you. But it really does help any podcast that you listen to so much by telling your friends, not only what you listen to, but that you like it. So please do that, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 Dude, it's a waveform. You can't eat it.
But I don't know if until I try.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nimp, what are your titles?
I played it technically.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh out of Japan. My hard drive woes. Club 27. This 47 life. And my personal vote, Little Installs, Big Fun.
Wrote that down too. Moon, what do you have?
Rolling with the Blueberries, The Military Lies, My Hard Drive Woes, Little Installs, Big Fun, Playable, One Co-Host Away, Toss a Coin to Your Guardian, and From Software Sword.
I have The Witcher Problem, Little Installs, Big Fun, Toss a Coin to Your Guardian, My Hard Drive Woes, and Club 27. Sounds like Little Installs, Big Fun is probably our winner here this week, because not only do all of us have it, but it's still making us giggle.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that gets my vote.
Yep, sure.
Yeah.
Circling it, let me know when you're ready, because clearly Louise is ready to eat dinner.
Oh yeah, she is being ready.
Yeah.
This is the thing I love, is the resting angry face that she always has.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if she's being chill, she still looks mad.
Yep. Love it.
I know, you're hungry. I will feed you in a second. Okay, I'm ready.
Yep.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 748 for February 21st, 2022. Little Installs, Big Fun.
I gotta test the second part.
The bigger the hard drive, the bigger the fun.
Carnival of Value. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We appreciate it. We hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Louise said bye too.
I was like, Moon just gave you a kiss.
Smooch.